Hey people of the VC, it's Andy, cloudy and milder. It's that time of year again when I celebrate another rotation around the sun. Last Monday was my birthday, and as I've done for the last few years, I set myself a budget, went out digging at some local record shops, blew my budget and came home with a good decent stack of records. This year was a little bit different. My birthday was on Monday, but the weekend before, on the Saturday, a couple of days before, I was down in Birmingham visiting the in-laws. I got a few minutes to go pop into a local record shop while we were in the city centre, and it's a record shop that I find a little bit hit and miss. It's called Swordfish Records. These guys here, and but this time I think I got a couple of good deals. In fact, I came home with what, 4 or 5 different records of different types. So yeah, so this video is going to cover the records that I picked up digging with my birthday in mind in both Birmingham and Edinburgh. One of the usual haunts in Edinburgh, and a brand new shop as well I've not been into before. So let's show you what I got. So Swordfish Records in Birmingham is, as I say, it's a bit hit and miss as metal goes. In fact, I find Birmingham, considering it's the home of metal, is not a great place to shop for metal. I think obviously everybody loves heavy metal so much in Birmingham, they must keep hold of their stuff and not sell it. But I did find 1 or 2 interesting things. First up, I literally got this one because it was so cheap. I am a fan of Dogs d'Amour, and you'll see a little bit more coming up later on. But this was just £2. It's a single, Back in the Jungle, back on the Juice, back in the jungle, back on the Juice, from what, 1990. It's got Back on the Juice, Gypsy Blood, Bulletproof Poet, and Victims of Success Live. According to my definition, it shouldn't be a 12-inch single because it's got 4 tracks, not 3, but it does play at 45, so it is more of a 12-inch single than an EP. So that was a nice little find. These two were interesting. I've not seen these before. Got good prices as well. So first up is this little 10-inch box set, Queensryche. It's a 3-track 10-inch single with Best I Can being the main track, and as you can see on here, also in this box is a 10-inch by 40-inch banner poster and a Queensryche badge. Now this box had a fair amount of, it was just really dirt on it, but it was very superficial. I knew that if I wiped it over with just like a almost dry antibacterial kitchen wipe, and it came up a treat, and it is in pretty much near mint condition. There's nothing of such on the back. Inside we have the Queensryche badge, the poster. I will show actually because it's there we go. It's a Ross Halfin picture. Never been hung up. So this is all in absolute near mint condition. Certainly when I checked it out on Discogs, with more than the £5 I pay for it. And there's the single. Best I Can is a song that I'm not that fussed about, and I don't own the album Empire. And if Best I Can is the best on that album, then I'm not in a fuss to get it. But I Dream in Infrared, there's a 1991 acoustic remix. I think that's from, is that from the it's not from the Warning, is it? It's from Rage. And the Prophecy from the, I think that's from this self-titled EP. But I thought that was a nice little thing to have. Certainly something, if I don't want it in my collection and I run out of room, I think I should be able to turn around quite easily. But there was also another one of these 10-inch box sets as well. This time it's a Megadeth one for Skin in My Teeth, from Countdown to Extinction, I think. This one says it includes a limited edition 10-inch single featuring previously unavailable tracks, Holy Wars, General Schwarzkopf mix, and High Speed Dirt live. Plus, has anybody ever heard of the Megadeth board game before? Because I certainly hadn't. And this little box set here, and I'm not going to go into much detail on it because, because the Megadeth game, board game, so it's only supposed to contain this extra pass thing here, and the 10-inch single itself, which I will show. There we go, skin of my teeth. But the track 4 on here says Mustaine's remarks on the game, and I did a little bit of digging about what this game is, and it is actually a board game which you could get if you basically bought every version of this single available. Now, what was also in the box is the 7-inch single of Skin of My Teeth. Now, someone's obviously sold this to the record shop as a full box set, and they've not done their homework, and this shouldn't be in the box. This comes with the actual game board. It's a poster that's the game board for the Megadeth game. It's Skin of My Teeth and Holy Wars, The Punishment, the General Schwarzkopf mix again. This alone in mint condition is worth the best part of a tenner, and the box itself cost me what, £8. But as I said, I did a little bit more digging. There's also 2 CD singles that comes in this set, and together with the 2 CD singles, the 7-inch single and the 10-inch box set, you have got the Megadeth game. I'm thinking I might do a video just on the Megadeth game in this box set in a little bit more detail. Being a little bit anal, I did have to go away and find copies of those 7-inch singles just because, no other reason. So I'll think about how to put that into a video and stick that out so you can kind of see what it is. But I certainly never heard of the Megadeth game before. Now, last 2 from Swordfish. Yeah, this is a Dead Spot, Adios Dude. A bit of a blind buy. Again, it was a decent price. Still got the price on there, £8 for an album in pretty good condition. It's on Heavy Metal Records, which doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a good heavy metal record, but the picture of the band looked great. Did a bit of research, and they're kind of like a hardcore thrash band. This is from 1990. This version of it is. The cover looks very punk, but it's really good. I've only listened to each of these that you'll see once, so I do need to give them a bit more of a listen, but it may be coming up to my next birthday before I get through all of these and everything else that I've got, but I just wanted to show what I picked up because it was my birthday weekend. So Adios Dude, really, really good. It's kind of Slayer meets early Metallica meets a bit of hardcore as well, so definitely worth checking out. Dead Spot, and the one that kind of made my heart skip a beat when I saw was, and I've never seen any Centrex vinyl in the wild, was the EP, live EP, Dilute to Taste. Couldn't grab that quick enough. Now, this is an album that legends state that our very own Mark G with a C attended, and everybody who attended was listed as being additional backing vocals of this gig. And as Mark has told many times in his videos, he jotted his name down, but I can't find him on the list at all. There is a Mark Gibson here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's with a K, not with a C. So I don't know. He may just be trying to blag it. He does claim that they spelt his name wrong, but I don't know. You make your own minds up. But this is on Road Racer. Sorry, Mark. This is on Road Racer, Dutch pressing. But absolutely delighted to finally get some Centrex on vinyl. So that was my trip in Birmingham. I was delighted because I really wasn't expected to pick anything up. I went in Birmingham. They've just opened a HMV shop called The Vault, and it's supposed to be the biggest music entertainment store in Europe. All I can say is it's probably the most expensive music entertainment store in Europe as well, because there was literally no new vinyl under sort of £20–25, and you're not going to get my money in there. Lots of people in there, but I got a much better deal when I went to Swordfish Records. Now, on to Monday, back in Edinburgh, my birthday itself. Got an album from my wife and one from my sister. This is the one I got from my wife. It's the Ramones Leave Home 40th anniversary sort of hardback book. Contains a 40th anniversary remix of the album on vinyl. Which I wasn't good at, but it's got the original Sire reprint label on there. It does come with a little booklet with some commentary from Danny Fields. Really good read, actually. I'm not going to flick through it though. And it also comes with 3 CDs as well. There we go. I've got the hype sticker in there as well. I've not listened to the CDs yet. The vinyl does sound really, really good. It does sound very... you don't normally associate, I guess, things being really polished with the Ramones, but it just sounds a really, really good reproduction of the album. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to it the other night. It carries off where the debut album finished off. They didn't have second album blues at all. They just carried on writing as best as they knew. There we go. Oh, right, yeah, there we go. The only trouble is now I've got this one. I have to try and find a copy of the first one, the 40th anniversary version of the first one, because I can't possibly just have one stuck in the middle, and then maybe I can look and get the ones that come out after. I think they've done the equivalent of this all the way up to It's Alive. Also from my sister, who has no idea about the music I like whatsoever. She just picked this off my Amazon wishlist. This is Lowest Creature and Sacrilegious Pain. It's an album from 2019. It's on the kind of speed metal, growly, dirty vocals, kind of thing I've really got into with the likes of Hellripper and Aggressive Perfector, bands like that, where I used to say a lot that I didn't like the growly vocals on things like black metal, death metal, but it turns out I don't mind the vocals. It's the black metal and death metal music itself that I don't really like, but this is well worth checking out. Lowest Creature. In the afternoon on my birthday, I went out to... I used to go to 2 or 3 record shops, so I would probably try and start off at Record Shack, then maybe go to Unknown Pleasures, and then maybe go to Vinyl Villains, which is the one I go to more often than not. But if I blow my budget in those first 2, I wouldn't bother with Vinyl Villains, because I'm more likely to pop into there later in the year, or more regularly than the other 2. Fortunately, Record Shack shut last year, so I went straight to Unknown Pleasures, and they're on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh, which means that their ground rates are probably pretty high, and that's reflected in the vinyl as well. They did have some interesting stuff, but it was kind of VG Plus condition records. They had a couple of Lizzie Borden records that I would have liked, but they were VG Plus condition at very much near mint prices. So with a heavy heart, I left that store and I walked down towards Vinyl Villains. But then I remember there's another store in Leith in Edinburgh that I've not visited before, that a friend of mine is always telling me is pretty good. So I thought I would pop in there as well. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get a record bag when I was in. The guy offered me a bag, but I had my own. And I really wish I should have grabbed one just so I could show what the record shop is. But the other thing is, with record shops, there being less in Edinburgh, and having the likes of the Rock Scout and Bev Clarker Vision also on my patch and digging through the records that I'm after myself. I'm kind of reluctant to say where I've been shopping, but I want to show you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a small diversionary tactic while I show you the flyer from the record shop I visited, to give the record shop a little bit of a bump as well. But I know for a fact that if I just put up this can of Iron Brew here, the Scottishness in Bev and Scott will be so distracted by this that they will not see this flyer I'm holding up now, which is a flyer for Elvis Shakespeare, which is a second-hand music and bookstore in Leith. So now I'm going to take that down, and I will take away the Iron Brew, and honestly, they'll be completely oblivious, so I can use that shop, and they won't be on my patch in there at all. But what do I get there? So I'll get it. Elvis Shakespeare is it's not your top end second-hand record shop by far. And I was talking to the guy in there, and you know, he's quite proud of his shop, obviously, and he will buy the collections that he can get hold of. So the records aren't in top-notch conditions, but his prices reflect that, and it's really, really reasonable prices. And for me to pick up a stack of albums that were less than £5 each, vinyl themselves, fantastic condition. Some of the covers are a bit scuffed or what have you, but they are albums, if I saw them near mint somebody else, I probably wouldn't buy them. I'll be honest with you. Certainly not at the near mint prices. So I think I got about 5 in all from Elvis Shakespeare. First up is a copy of Tesla Mechanical Resonance. I think this only cost me less than a £5 as well. In the sleeve, maybe you'll see down here, there's a little bit of water damage in this bottom corner, which obviously has an impact on the price. You can see the staining here. It was also, you know, this spine down here, the base of the spine is pretty scuffed up, and this corner was, it's taken a little bit of gluing. It's in a lot better shape now than when I bought it, but it was a great album to find at a great price on Geffen Records. What this is from, what, 1986? I'm not a massive Tesla fan, but now I have the first 2 Tesla albums, I'm pretty pleased, and I think this may be one that if I did find a better copy, I would I'd upgrade it on the cover, because I don't think the album itself is in pretty great shape. I would definitely get an upgrade of that. One album I wouldn't get an upgrade of, oh no, The Raven, the pack is back. I kind of wanted this one because it's the only Raven album of the 80s that I don't have. I've never heard it all the way through, and it is terrible. It is not Raven. It is, I think most people know the story about how they signed for Atlantic. Atlantic, a bit of a bidding war. Atlantic got them, and Atlantic decided to change them. It was like they didn't realise that the band that people wanted to hear and that they were signing were great because they were doing their own thing and they knew what they needed to do. So they went all commercial, and it's funny because this is produced by Eddie Kramer, who I think he went on and did Among the Living, didn't he? And you know, there was no compromise on that album. So unfortunately for Raven, this didn't work, and as and when I ever get to a stage where I have to reduce the size of my collection, I quite happily let this one go. I'm not so fussed about being a completist for Raven now. I've heard it. It's just going to be a space filler. Another band I've seen shown quite a lot, but never really heard before. And again, the price of this was what, like $3.99, I think it was. And that's King Cobra, and this is their debut, Ready to Strike. It's kind of a super group before they were famous. David Michael Phillips, Johnny Rod, Carmine Appice. This isn't too bad. I quite enjoyed this from for the type of music that it is. The lyric sheet's in pretty good condition, and their band photo as well. What's this on? This is on Capitol. Mark III, he's kind of got a little bit of the Pat Butcher hairdo, for those that are familiar with, I guess, 80s, 90s EastEnders. But yeah, not a bad album, certainly for £4. Also for £4, their second album was there, Thrill of a Lifetime, which is horrible. It's kind of a poppy, honestly. I could see why Johnny Rod went on to go to Wasp after, just to cleanse his soul after playing it on this Tosh. But yeah, as I say, I would never have never have picked it up had it been a full price or an album in one of the other record shops I go to that would have been full price. It's just not very good at all. And the last one from Elvis Shakespeare, and this is the one that, as I say, another one that heart missed a beat when I saw it, and I grabbed it straight away. This one was actually £7, and it's not even an album, it's just a 4-track EP. That's a Slammer with Insanity Addicts. Slammer, UK thrash metal band. This EP is from 1990. I have 2 of their other albums. They are kind of Insanity Addicts, the first song on here, sounds a bit like an Anthrax song. They've got very much an Anthrax sound to them. It's not Heavy Metal Records again, but mostly they sound more like Metallica. The Paul Tunnicliffe has got a lot of the James Dean Hetfields about him. But yeah, absolutely stoked to add to my Slammer collection with that. And last but not least, I went down the road, literally a 5-minute walk, to Vinyl Villains. Having already blown my budget by then, I was kind of hoping I wouldn't find anything too good, but you know what, I spent a bit more. It's my birthday, I'm allowed. First up, let's just put these down. Been looking for a copy of this for a while, not really fully over myself to get one, but this is the Dogs d'Amour in the Dynamite Jet Saloon. Always kind of had a soft spot for Dogs d'Amour. How Come It Never Rains, It Only Pours is one of the few sort of bands of this type that do ballads a lot that I thoroughly enjoy, and I've always liked that song. I'd say the album overall is like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. It's in great nick. Inner sleeve and on China Records. Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe a little bit Guns N' Roses, Cinderella, that kind of thing. Not really glam metal though, more sort of the sleazy side, sleazy bluesy side, but great to have that. Another album I have been looking out for a long time and couldn't resist, although I've kind of paid probably top dollar for this. I think this was £12. And mainly because the cover of it, some albums I kind of want because the covers are so fantastic. And Samson Before the Storm is one of those. This is post Bruce. It is post Thunderstick, although they are still reliant on both Bruce and Thunder to get writing credits for some of these songs. It's not as good as earlier Samson. In fact, the first time I played it, I was a little disappointed, but I gave it another go, and I enjoyed it a lot more. There are a few good songs on here, but definitely, you know, Samson were on the way out, and this is only 1982. Bruce went on to do Number of the Beast, and Nicky Moore, who came in, his vocals are good. The vocals are good, but it's a completely different style from Bruce Dickinson. But still, great to finally find a copy of Before the Storm, and that covers a 10 for me. Absolutely superb. There's the back. And last but not least, again, I took a double take when I saw this one, and it's only really because I've been so heavily into the UK thrash book Contract in Blood that I'd even heard of this band, although the cover itself would have piqued my interest. This is Decimator with Carnage City Estate Mosh Patrol. This band they're highly influenced by sort of the whole 2000 AD comic book. it's not a concept album by any means, but there are, there's plenty of references throughout. They're on Neat Records. According to their bio in the Contract in Blood book, they basically blagged their way onto Neat Records. One of the guys in the band was pretending he was literally the band's agent, so we had to kind of put on an accent. But the names of the band, we've got E-Raunch Launcher on guitar, Lice Marshall on guitar as well, Metal Dwarf, and Mad Dog. This guy's growly vocals. They're kind of, they're thrash, but they're also, I bear in mind this is late 80s, early 90s as well. They're thrash, but they're desperately holding on to sort of the new wave of British heavy metal sound. But the vocals themselves, Mad Dog's vocals are more your Kronos meets Lemmy. It's interesting. It's not a fantastic album, and you can see why these probably didn't go too far. But 30 years later, I love finding this stuff, and I'm really into UK thrash metal at the moment. In fact, if you want to see what I've been picking up recently in the UK thrash metal mode, leave a comment below, and I'll try and dig out some stuff and do a video of that if people are interested. But that's 26 minutes long. That's longer than I intended, but it was a big stack. It was I thoroughly enjoyed my birthday this year, and the birthday dig especially. Let me know what you think of some of these bands or albums if you have them, and thanks for watching, and I'll maybe not leave it so long to do another video next time, but who knows. See ya.